Spurs Timberwolves. And Ant, how could you? How could you do this to us,
Sorry,
Anthony Edwards? Big game winner. They were down 19, by the way. Much respect. 104-103 win for Minnesota. He did finish with 23 points. 9 of those came in the fourth. Dante DiVincenzo with 19, 9, and 7. And Wemby had 29, 10 of 10 from the free throw line, 7 rebounds, and he did play 27 minutes. I can't even be mad at him. God, I hate that. Lou, we love him here. We are a pro Anthony Edwards show. There were MVP chants, obviously, in the building last night as a result of that game. We don't really talk about him, though, when we are talking MVP, and certainly not top 5. Should he be?
He's earned the right. He's earned the right. You know, even Jaylen Brown, Jalen Brunson, all of those guys, they've earned the right to be in that conversation with the way that they've played this year. And talking about Anthony Edwards, the adjustments that he's made from the beginning of this season to where they are now. You could tell he's back in attack mode. You could tell he's going downhill, trying to put as much pressure as he can on the rim. And I think that's where his strong suits are. That's what fits his game. Remember last season when he kind of fell in love with the three, right? He was shooting, upwards of 8 to 10 3-pointers a game, and he was living and dying by that three-point line. And I kept saying, I think he's just trying to add something to his bag. I think he's trying to add that to his bag. Now he comes back in this season, and he's back in attack mode and shooting 50% from the field as a guy who we've gotten accustomed to kind of making him a jump shooter or a three-point shooter. And then he comes back this season and he makes adjustments again. He beat those guys last night inside of the three-point line by attacking, by putting pressure on Wemby at the rim, by putting pressure on the rest of their defense at the rim. So he's earned the right to be a part of this MVP conversation just as much as anybody. You look at his numbers, you look at Wemby numbers, and a few of those other guys, they're all identical. You know, whether it's rebounds, that may sway Wemby's way, but assists and points, they're going to sway Anthony Edwards' way. So he's done everything he can to put himself in that conversation. So I say, why not?
Yeah, listen, he's a long shot to win MVP, but with the recent struggles of the Thunder and with Jokic going down, it feels like there's a little bit of an opportunity here, and the Timberwolves are starting to figure it out, and Lou touched on it. Last year, I feel like he settled a lot. He took a lot of outside, tough, contested, long twos, a lot of early threes. He's not doing that this year. He's mixing it up. He's getting into paint. He's getting to the free throw line, shooting 40% from three and 50 from the field. With a guy that takes the amount of shots and the usage rate that he has, you'll take that all day long. And he's giving it his all on the other end. He's one of their best defenders, one of the best two-way players in the league, averaging over a steal a game. This kid can do it all, and this team is a top 10 offense. They're a top 10 defense. They're starting to play their best basketball, and they're obviously led by this dude who's been doing it for years, and now he's doing it in a more efficient, mature way, and it's showing.
Yeah, he's tied in the odds there with Jalen Brunson, that plus 7,500. So it'll be kind of curious. It's crazy, too, that Jokic is like basically probably not going to qualify. So that changes the whole. I know, that is a bummer. We're getting ripped off. It's a bummer Boogie's not here for this next one because I almost feel like we should call him just to get his opinion on the Rudy Gobert situation from last night. But he did get his 5th flagrant of the season, which is crazy. We're not even at the halfway point. He does have enough points technically to be suspended for Tuesday's game unless, of course, they downgrade that bad boy. Chandler, is Rudy Gobert a dirty player?
I mean, 5 flagrant fouls is not awesome for the resume. But
hard not to say, right?
yeah. Like if this were other players, I think we would easily tag them as dirty, which we have before. And again, I think he's, with the Defensive Player of the Year's awards he's got, and with the, I feel like all the trash talking he gets, I feel like he's almost embraced this role. And I feel like we've been poking Rudy Gobert for years, and he feels that, and he doesn't want to be labeled as this soft big. So now he's almost taking it out in a different way. I know Rudy. I love Rudy. He's a great dude. But this is getting a little much, though. When you start talking about 5 flagrant fouls, you could potentially hurt somebody and end their season. Even like that with the Zaza foot thing, that's now a flagrant foul. But when I think flagrant foul, I think of like a dirty elbow. I think of taking someone's legs out. I don't think about a closeout where you put your leg under. So I don't find that to be the dirtiest play, although it has ended people's seasons and in playoff runs. But he's on a slippery slope right here. But again, I think that comes with the territory of kind of everybody really blasting him and coming at him every season, all season long.
Yeah, I don't love it. That last particular one, it depends on if you want to, if you want to debate whether that's a dirty play or not. That's a gray area for me when it comes to letting players land, because we all have the antics, and it's just a weird thing to be involved in when they're landing. Now, when it comes to like elbows and pushing and shoving and messing guys up, we're getting in a different category of dirty. And for Rudy Gobert to be kind of heralded as a rim protector, as a defensive-minded guy, why are you fouling so much? And why are you fouling so hard? You should be able to be the guy that protects the rim cleanly and to be able to do it without the 5 flagrant fouls that you've had this season. So to be able to be suspended so early on in the season because of technical fouls and flagrants, that's never heard of. Usually guys start getting in trouble for this 60, 70 games in, not before the All-Star break. So yeah, that's the concerning part of, like, where do you go from here? If you're doing all of this before All-Star break, what room do you have to even defend, or even try to, be a hard-nosed defender like he's trying to be? And Chandler said it right. Like, he's been talked about, and I don't want to use the phrase picked on, because, he's a 7-footer. It's almost impossible to pick on somebody that size, but he's got some fight back in his system, right? Like, at this point, he's just trying to fight back some of the narratives and some of the trash that's being talked about him. But he's put himself in a bad position with being able to be suspended and not available for this basketball team. That's going to be hard for them, especially in the run that they're in. Being a 4th-place team, being a top 10 defense, you're going to need Rudy Gobert on the floor. So him to not be available because of this, it's unacceptable.
Yeah, and
this won't help the narrative if that's what happens here.
But like him or hate him, and I also think we look at Rudy Gobert based on that trade that acquired him, and it was a lot. And people always talk about how much they had to give up. It's one of the worst trades ever. And I think you kind of you pair that with Rudy Gobert's play and with the defensive players of the years, and I just think. Exactly. So I think there's expectation for him. And like Lou said, the run they're on, like him, hate him, however you feel about him, he is their starting center. He is the anchor on that defense, and he is a huge part of why they are a top 10, top 5 defense in the NBA. So they need him to be available. And when you start doing things like this and you go down that road, it's only going to hurt you in the long run.
Yeah, because in years past, we have crushed Draymond Green for his antics that would make him unavailable for his team when they needed him. So if that's what ends up happening so early on, Harper and Castle, it's been an interesting little stretch for these guys. Like, they did struggle last night. Afterwards, Mitch Johnson said that's basically life when you're 21 and 19. They're gonna figure it out. But Lou, because the Spurs are so seemingly ahead of schedule, and you start to look ahead at a 21 and a 19-year-old, if things start coming down to the wire as the season goes on, is that going to end up being a bigger problem, say, postseason time?
Absolutely. First of all, we shouldn't even be worried about what expectations we have for them in the postseason. Again, that we always use the All-Star break as our somewhat of a halfway point, and as an anchor, and where they are in their careers and where San Antonio is as a team right now, we shouldn't be concerned with the way that they're playing. Those guys have hit a wall. And trust me, they're not the only 2 young guys or even veteran guys at this stage of the season that's hitting that wall. Everybody is dying for that break right now. You're starting to get into the dog days of the season, right? You're starting to get into those days where the schedule is starting to get on you. The travel is starting to get on you. You're trying to make adjustments. You're fresh out of the holiday season. You're fresh out of Christmas. You're fresh out of New Year's. You have so many different things going on that you have to manage as a player. And I'm not making an excuse for these young guys. I'm simply saying that this isn't something that's a bigger issue than not. Now, if they go on a 3-4 month run where you start to see these zeros and these 2 points and these 2 4-11s, then we'll start having a different conversation. But everybody is going to go through their struggles, especially a 19-year-old and a 21-year-old who has so much pressure on them to be successful. Like you just said, they're completely ahead of schedule, right? And when you're standing next to a Victor Wembanyama, there is going to be a lot of expectation and a lot of pressure. And sometimes you're going to fall short of those. That's part of the season. Nobody is going to play well for the entirety of the season. And if they do, that's what separates them from everybody else. That's why you have a small group of 4 to 5 to 6 guys in an MVP conversation. Not everybody. Everybody can't do it. And especially your young shooting guard and your young point guard and these young guys that are still trying to understand what the league is about, going through the rigors of a schedule, going through the rigors of having a different expectation that you probably had before you start playing next to somebody like that, before your team start having the success that they're having. So I don't think this is a bigger issue, and we definitely shouldn't be concerned with what they look like in the playoffs. For these guys, they should take it one game at a time, try to get a layup, try to get something early in the game to kind of break the ice, get the lid off of the rim, and just try to play better. And even if you can't score the basketball, just affect winning in a positive manner. You know, whether that's going to be on the defensive end, whether that's going to be hustle plays, or just encouraging your teammates, or just being positive energy to be around. Scoring isn't the end-all, be-all. Those guys will be all right, but they're all going through their struggles. It's fair to criticize that, but to worry about the long run right now, we'll be out of pocket to do that.
Yeah, and I think both these guys are great. They're going to be really, really good players for years to come, especially Castle. When offense, it doesn't determine his game elsewhere. You know what I mean? Like, even if he's struggling 2 for 11 last night, he is still clamping. He is still playing so hard. He's still getting on the floor. He's still getting 4 or 5 assists, 4 or 5 rebounds. Harper has that same potential and capability to do that, where they shouldn't hang their head if shots aren't going. That's going to happen. That happens to everybody, especially young guys. Everyone's going to go through these shooting woes, these struggles, cold streaks, whatever you want to call it. They're going to do that. But the fact that they are so young and you don't see that alter the rest of their game is super impressive. So I kind of take a positive from a negative out of this, to know that they know their value is elsewhere. Harper can still be that setup guy that can go in there, get out in transition, make the game easier for everybody else when his shot isn't falling. And Castle is going to guard the best perimeter scorer on the other team and kind of be that versatile player who can go get offensive rebounds, who can get in passing lanes and get steals. So you don't ever want to see 2 for 11 and 0 for 5, but that's not who these guys are. They're such versatile two-way players where that shouldn't matter, and that shouldn't alter the way that they impact the game each night.
Got some good poker faces already at such a young age. Guys, I've been waiting to get to this next story this whole time. I've just been waiting all weekend. I love it so much.